I'm going to talk about Korea today. So, in the early period, they had a Three Kingdom period, which is from around 57 BC to 600 or close to 700 AD. Goguryeo was the largest of the Three Kingdoms. Bakje was in good terms with Korea, and Silla was the oldest and the weakest. And in the end, Silla won. They controlled all the Three Kingdoms in the end because they allied with the Chinese Tang. Okay, so a little more brief history would be that the refugees of Goguryeo established Balhae in the north, which became the North and South period, kind of like the Civil War. And in 918, General Wang Yong of Silla, he turned against his king and made himself King Taizhou. In Chinese, the characters sort of represent the beginner or the ancestor. That has that meaning. And he is the founder of the Goryeo dynasty, which is where Korea comes from. This dynasty lasted for almost 1,000 years, very long. And the last dynasty of all would be the Chosun dynasty, established by Yi Song-gyo in the late 1300s. And the capital Hanyang is modern-day Seoul, also their capital. Okay, so some religions. Buddhism was introduced by the Chinese, and Chinese were introduced. India introduced Buddhism to China, and they were introduced by the Tang Dynasty, and then later Confucianism replaced Buddhism during the Chosun Dynasty, and now there's a lot of Christians there. And okay, so their culture. They developed a unique culture they wanted to separate their culture during the Goryeo dynasty, which was the long 1,000-year period. And during the Chosun dynasty, they created their own alphabet. They used to use the Chinese characters, and they still do, but now they have their own characters. And the fact is that the Koreans are very nationalistic. They only like to use things that are made in Korea and stuff. And so to the Chinese, they introduced the Buddhism and writing, and they introduced that to Japan during the Three Kingdom periods. And they were often vassals of China during Ming Dynasty, Han Dynasty. They were even captives of the Mongolians. Later, they were constant in war with Japan. In Chinese, they call them Wokou. I learned that from Korean dramas. And a little modern history would be, in 1910, Japan annexed Korea until the end of World War II, and then later Northern Korea was under the supervision of the Soviet Union. So this is what caused the Civil War between North and South Korea. So now this is why North Korea is still a Soviet Union, a communism country. And they signed a treaty in 1953 on the border. The border is often referred as the 38th parallel. After getting independence, Korea had some dictators, but in 1987, some of the Christian leaders, they talked one of the dictators into stepping down, and so elections could be held. And since then, their economy and their nation has improved greatly. Okay, and then relevance to the world. Many people that receive plastic surgeries there, and their dramas are famous. They are extremely nationalistic, as mentioned before. They have very strong emotions. They can be very temperate. And they are very zealous and dedicated to things, such as how they are as Christians, their bonds to families, and etc., etc. And these are my sources.